Why is South Korea rich and North Korea poor? In both countries, they are the same people, same language, and same culture. They both were once the same country. But still, one is rich and another is poor. Why? Is it because of geography? One is in the north and another one is in south? No, it's because of the economic system they chose for their country. There are various economic systems, and let's see the economic systems in the extreme ends, which is capitalism and communism. Capitalism is when an individual can own means of production using which he can produce goods and services, using which ultimately he can gain money. Means of productions are land, factories, business, etc. In communism, the government or the people own the means of production, which means you and I can't have a business, can't have land, and can't have anything that produces us money. We are not allowed to own any means of production because it would lead to income inequality. I will explain communism in real world scenarios. Consider you and I both are students in a classroom. You study very hard, you study 12 hours a day, you do all the homework, blah blah blah. And I'm just chilling, I'm nonchalant, I don't care about studying. But at the end, we both get the same marks, same grades. You would be upset, right? But why did we get the same grades? Because if you got higher grades than me, then it will lead to mark inequality, grade inequality. So we both got the same grades. It's crazy, right? It's insane. I will compare both capitalism and communism using three concepts: incentive, competition, and innovation. Incentive: when you want something, you do something for it, right? If you want to look good and be healthy, you work out for it. Similarly, when you want to get something as a reward, you do something beforehand. Consider yourself as a footballer. You love football, you want to play professional football. You train every day, you listen to the coach, your diet is top notch, and you don't miss a day of training. In capitalism, based on how much skillful you are, you would get paid accordingly. But in communism, you may be the best player in the world, and I am someone who is in the bench just slacking, not playing at all, but at the end we both get paid the same amount. No matter how skillful you are, no matter what you bring to the table, we both get paid the same. Imagine Ronaldo and me are getting paid the same for football. It's crazy, right? Ronaldo is going to cry himself to sleep that night. Our next point is competition. Remember a few years ago when auto drivers used to charge high amount and insane prices to go to nearby places, and we had no choice but to pay them. But after the arrival of Rapido, public chose Rapido over auto drivers because we got great prices, we got cheaper prices. So the auto drivers business impacted because of it, and the auto drivers had no choice but to lower their price too, which is a great news for us public, right? We have multiple choices and with affordable rates. This is what competition creates, and this competition can only be done in capitalistic societies, because capitalism just leaves the market to the private players' hands, and the private players compete with each other to provide better prices for the public. But in communist societies, it won't be the same. The government would control the taxi market, the government would decide the rates, and we cannot bargain with them. We can do nothing but submit to the government. In this competition leads to innovation. Consider Samsung and Apple. Both are smartphone companies. Both compete with each other to provide high-class technology, cutting-edge technology. They want to compete with each other and provide better technology compared to each other. And they also compete in the price ranges. Both have different price ranges, both have different smartphones, but they do compete, right? Apple is scared that Samsung would overtake them technologically, and Samsung also scared that Apple would overtake them. So both compete in innovation every day, each and every day, to provide better smartphones for us. Because of this competition, it helps the entire human race to go forward technologically, and we also get better prices and lots of choices for buying smartphones. But in a communistic society, both Apple and Samsung won't be there, and there would be only one company, mostly government's company, and that company won't be very invested in trying out new technologies or advancing technology, because the public has no choice but to buy only their phones. So they would be slacking, and they won't be even invest in new technologies. They won't even try to do it because only their smartphones are going to be sold in the market. If we were in a communist society, we would still be using Nokia button phones by now. So you come to know my opinion. I lean more to capitalism. But if you ask me, China is a communist country. How are they so rich? China is communist just for the namesake. Even they know that being communism won't help their country financially or economically. In communist societies, there are two types of ownership: personal ownership and private ownership. Personal means your toothbrush, your clothes, your bags, your homes, which are personal. Communism allows personal property, but private property like land, factory, business are not allowed in communism. But China, they allowed private property too, because they understand that communism doesn't help their country financially. So after they allowed private ownership and businesses and foreign funding in their country, a lot of people started businesses and their business started to boom, and it fast-tracked China's progress. Now China is the second richest country in the whole world. Even if you take India, before 1991, we wouldn't have lots of choices in products. The government would have lots of markets in their controls, like telecom market, aeroplane aviation market, and steel market. Before 1991, if you want to start a business in India, it's a hectic job. You want to go to different offices, take their permission, get licenses. It's a hectic job, and people would almost quit their business area instead of doing on cyclic work. But after 1991, India allowed private players in steel, telecom, and aviation, and the then Indian government also allowed foreign funding. Because of this, lots of jobs were created, more jobs for the people, and people got higher salaries as well. It was net positive for India. So far, I have been so positive about capitalism, right? Does capitalism have any disadvantages? Yes, they do. There are some markets in the country that you do not want a private player to own, like healthcare, education, public infrastructure, roads. A company whose whole priority is for profit won't perform better in healthcare, roads, education. There's a huge scope for corruption there, and these markets are for the betterment of public and the public to thrive. These markets like healthcare, education, roads, army must be controlled by the government, and the government leaves the other markets and other economies to private players. And the other disadvantage is a company whose sole motive is for profit won't think twice before damaging the environment. So regulation is needed for capitalism to thrive. Without regulation, there would be monopolies, the environment would be damaged, and people's betterment won't be in the minds of those companies at all. Nowadays, no country is purely capitalist or purely communist. Most of the countries are mixed economies. In my opinion, the best economic system is when a country is largely capitalistic, but only few markets like healthcare, education, army, public infrastructure, roads are in the government's control, and others are privatized or in the private players' control. What do you think of my opinion? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think communism is better? Comment down below. Let's have a great discussion down there.